Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Nathan, you're first on the agenda.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. We'll be fairly quick today. First, CDC restructuring and reorganization. Councilman Brad Bunnell has asked to be removed from the Advisory Commission on Industrial Development. And Commissioner McClure has very generously suggested that with his past as a union pipe fitter, he would be willing to serve in the building trade seat. I am here to ask that you rescind Councilman Bunnell's appointment and appoint Commissioner McClure to serve a partial term ending in 2025, representing both the county government and the building trade. The code says that the 5 sectors have to be filled, but that one person can fill more than one of them. So I'm asking that you that appointment and rescission, and that will leave us just with a second partial term flex seat and that final CDC seat that is set up for somebody representing the agricultural sector.
Okay, I think we will split those requests there. That way Mike can vote. He should probably abstain on his appointment. I would make a motion to, based on Mr. Bunnell's verbal request, rescind his appointment to the Advisory Commission on the Industrial Development.
Hey, I would second that.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Then the appointment for Mr. McClure to serve in that position, I would make that motion.
And I would,
I want to comment.
Yep.
If you can find acting union members, because I'm retired from it. Don't give up, because it's just probably the best way.
No, I agree, but I'd like to get it operating, and we can find somebody, we can adjust that appointment.
I don't know that name, and I know there's some local union people in the county that's in the building trade. I can't think of the name right now. I just kind of have to take them on the road.
hey, I
So
would,
we need to rescind that motion, or it just dies for lack of a second.
I would second that.
So we had a motion on the floor, Mike, take that. And it was not seconded. Mike made a statement, so we could either say because of lack of a second, no action taken.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't mind being on it.
Just
If there's somebody that's actively working with the trade, I think that it's something to point. They can kick me on.
yeah.
Okay,
You
so
want to second that?
I would second that. Yeah,
Any other discussion or confusion?
yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
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 There we go.
Okay, thank you. The only thing I will address on the courthouse project today is that, as I have informed you via email, the clerk's office has ended up using more of the building at 117 East Main Street than initially expected, with the massive amount of storage they have, documents, and a little bit of equipment. So I've spoken with Kyle Summers, and he has suggested that he would be willing to execute an amended lease for that space that adds $340 per month to cover both the use of that space and the utilities without separate billing of the utilities doing for the main side of the building. Kevin and Colleen, they drafted it. Kyle has reviewed it. He's okay with it. So I would ask that you approve that. effective the 1st of December so that we can in good relations with our landlord in.
Okay, we would need a motion to approve this new lease agreement or amended lease agreement.
Yeah.
Mr. Summers,
I would make that motion to take effect for,
December 1st.
December 1st.
any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right, and then the last thing, I wanted to bring back the forefront, the conversation about potentially updating the county's website. We had discussed it in July or so and put it on the back burner. Crane and Gray reached out to me, informing me that a project they had scheduled for the first quarter of 2024 had dropped off of their calendar. And because we had been in these conversations and because obviously they want to keep themselves busy, they had expressed a willingness to cut about 10% off of that total project cost, down from between 43.3 and 58 to between 38.3, 45.8, with the high end reflecting a couple of additional add-ons that probably not critical, but I think would be worthwhile, especially the one that would mean that I would not spend as much time sitting at the computer in transferring individual items of content from old to new. The current website is 8 or 9 years old, give or take. It's still serviceable as an online presence for the county, but there are some limitations to its accessibility friendliness that will end up costing us a little bit more each month to make sure we are keeping up with, as well as how well we are able to use the website as a marketing tool for potential businesses, residents, and tourists. And perhaps the biggest concern is less those things and the fact that when they built it, I don't know if you've spent much time on the website, they built it on what's called a multi-site platform. And so county government pages have their own subdomain, from the economic development pages, from the tourism pages, to human services, soil and water. And while that has some benefits as far as site navigation goes, the platform is no longer supported by WordPress, so there's a risk of issues with stability in the future. This new project, in addition to addressing the accessibility issues and general user friendliness, would allow us to avoid any of those stability issues going.
This is an initial setup cost, and what would it be monthly?
I would guess somewhere around the same $115 a month for hosting, email, and security that we're currently paying. It might even be a little bit less because the Chamber of Commerce is going to be leaving the county's website and building their own, so they may not have quite as much hosting cost to cover. I don't know that for sure, but I don't anticipate any increase to the ongoing.
I assume this whole thing is separate from our county government, internet.
Yeah, it's entirely separate.
Separate
Yep.
completely. Any other questions, Nathan?
Do you think this website does us much good?
You would be surprised by how much traffic it gets on the county government page. People reading meeting minutes, looking up contact information for offices, that sort of thing. The tourism page does a little bit. There are ways that we could improve, like I said, using it as a tool for marketing the community, though. I think as it is, it gets a lot of traffic for the government page.
And you might mention your funding source.
It'll come, there's more than enough money to cover this in the professional services line item of my budget for 2024. And there is a website hosting cost in my budget as well. My office has been responsible for overseeing paying the hosting costs of the county's websites since before I've been in the position. I was in the position.
Have a motion to accept this proposal.
Yes, I would make a motion to go forward with this.
Moving and seconded. Any other discussion? Factually, is there something that Kevin would need to review?
Yeah, I can send it to Kevin. It's a pretty simple proposal.
Okay.
It's lengthy because it covers a lot of project stuff, but the terms are fairly simple. But I'll send that to him.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That is all I have for you this morning, unless you have anything additional for me.
Anything from Nathan?
No.
Dr. Allman?
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Thank you for letting me come today. I'm not asking for any motions today. At first I was hoping to, but I was probably getting a little too big of a hurry. So I just wanted to give you a brief update about the health department. This is the most change that the health department's gone through in 100 years. And I have been in discussions with Dr. Tim Day to take over my position, and he's agreed to do that. I have not gotten a motion yet from my health board, but informally I've been talking and to Tim Murray. So I think that effective date earliest would be February 1st of 24. So you'll have me around for a little while yet. So I had hoped to stay a little longer. There's so much change. So as far as those changes, the Health First Indiana is the initiative that this is called, and that will start January 1st. The monies are supposed to arrive by mid-January. They even said maybe the first week of January. I didn't believe it. But the state appropriation monies are supposed to come to our county by the end of January. So, and they'll give the whole year at once, is what I was told. So we'll see if that actually happens. So the state appropriation is coming. We have currently 2 open positions at the health department. The first is the school liaison officer that Leanne Wright has been talking to you about, and you approved that position. We're still taking applications. It's a complicated job. It's not simple. Teaching, prevention, working with the superintendents of both West Central and Eastern Pulaski. So that person's going to need a lot of soft skills. So we're looking currently. The second position is our health nurse, Andrea Keller, has taken a position elsewhere. We wish her well. She's done a wonderful job. We would take her back in a heartbeat. So we have several applications already for that position. So here we are. I'm transitioning out. We have 2 new positions coming in. As you can imagine, I don't feel comfortable just hiring people without some crossover with the next health officer. So we will be having discussions with him, whoever that is. So lots happening here all at the same time. Do you have any questions about those things?
You have a timeline for when Mr. Day gets involved, even though he's not, as far as being a part of the interview process and that type of thing?
Like I say, I was hoping February 1st he would officially be on task, and but I will cross over with him quite a bit here next few. Looks like with so much change, there's so much that he needs to be updated on as far as what used to be and what will be.
What about the other 2 positions, the timeline of hiring?
Yes, we're taking applications at least until the middle of January for the health nurse. So again, I'm not going to get in a big hurry. We have a regional nurse who takes care of the whole northern third of Indiana. We have a regional manager, and they've also got resources. They're hiring a financial person. They have hired a financial person to us. And Kevin, I think there's going to be some legal resources through the northern third of Indiana, this northern, middle, southern third. So, and those job applications starting January 1st have to be advertised for 30 days. Even though we started 23, I said, we'll just advertise them at least 30 days. I don't want to have any of those kind of complications. So, Edwina Guffey has been there now for about 6 months. She's done a wonderful job. Celinda continues to keep our wheels on, our lug nuts tight, and it's been rough. But she hopes to continue there until her retirement at some time in the future.
Do you have to be an RN to be the health nurse?
You have to be a licensed nurse, whether that's an LPN or RN. You have to give vaccinations.
Which is the most qualified, or RN or LPN?
RN is a 4-year degree. Yeah. So as far as the job applications, I wanted to tell you, the state has really is up their game. In the future, they're not quite there yet. They will have online State Department of Health job advertising for the whole state. We can put them on there after the first of the year. So we've advertised there, we've advertised online with Indeed, and then we have also advertised locally in the paper. So trying to take advantage of all those resources. And that's the other thing. I just wanted to let you know, the number of resources hugely increasing. Now as you're talking about your website, that's where you get all your information. Dr. Day will have very few papers on his desk. It will be almost all online, interacting with the state, emails to the state, resources, to our regional resources. They've been here just in the last week in our office, spending the day, our regional people helping us. So it's so much more complicated, but to be honest, it's just the way the way business is done now. So it's really exciting for me to see all these resources. So I think that's about all I have. If you have more questions about that, I'll be around. I'm not planning to leave or anything. Just to let Dr. Day know what the history is and where we're going. He's very interested. He lives in the county. He has been in the military, so he knows how systems and processes work. This is much more, it reminds me of when I left my private practice and went to the hospital. I joined a team of 400. As we go from our old-fashioned health department to the new health department, it's much more going to be, as you can hear, all this teamwork, local, regional, state, and the whole country is looking at Indiana right now. All these other states are very curious, how did we accomplish this to get a state that has been very conservative in the past? How did this happen where now we're trying to look in the future to prevent illness rather than just to correct it and to treat illness after it happens? That's all I really have.
I think part of that was probably because of our state ranking. Everybody knew it was an emergency situation, maybe. I'm not emergency, but we don't want to be where we are. We want to be better than what we are.
Very well said. And I'm really proud to be a part of that process. No one likes to be last.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And thank you for your service.
Gary?
Well, yes, good morning. I have the new bridge contract, 2024 to 2027 through United Consulting. Chuck has already signed a DocuSign through NDOT County. I have the contract for consulting, United Consulting with our county. So I need all of you to sign this, and Laura also got it here to sign.
Any questions for Gary? Does that need to be just signature or any formal motion to approve?
Just
signature,
the
right?
signatures is what I have to have.
Okay. Now we're down to approval of signing of the claims. Payroll number 25.
Okay, I've reviewed the claims and I've reviewed payroll 25, and I make a motion to approve as presented.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have the minutes of our December 4th meeting sent to us.
I've reviewed those minutes and I make a motion to approve those minutes as presented.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We also have on the agenda bonds. We have a blanket position bond. It looks like this blanket bond talks about the honesty blanket bond coverage, position bond, faithful performance blanket bond, faithful performance blanket position bond for $5,000. Have a motion to approve the blanket bond.
Yeah, I would make that motion to approve that.
Seconded. Any other discussion? Favor say aye.
Aye.
And then the second bond deals with the soil and water. Autumn Kniebel bonded for that position. Need a motion to approve.
Yes, I would approve Autumn, or the bond for Autumn.
And this is in the amount of $15,000. We have a second on that?
Yes.
I can second that. Okay, moved and seconded. Favor say aye.
Aye.
And discussion. First on the agenda there is rowing management service options. Laura and I have been talking with rowing probably ever since August, sometimes also during the construction project, probably earlier than that in the summer. But come up discussion with rowing is that they are now putting a contract together for us, and we're asking them to be the administrator of our IT, and also include the DeGroot company as more of our on-site person. Rather than having one person in the building, it's more the DeGroot company being in the building upon call. And in doing so, we felt the best way to organize that would be for rowing to have a contract with DeGroot rather than the county. That kind of gets us away from the fear of double claiming for a job and having two invoices sent for the same type work and so on. That is still being discussed. Part of that, it's the complete IT administrator, which covers the cyberspace training and down the road getting programs in place that will help with our insurance expense and so on. At this point in time, we talked with them last on Friday. And they plan on getting us a contract proposal with options in January. That is the steps that we were taking there. That's just a point of discussion right now. Have any comments or about going that direction? Kind of outsourcing, so to speak, not paying for one person to be in the building. Well, since rowing is putting all the new equipment in during the remodel, that was our best case scenario.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a good setup for rowing quality group, reduce redundancy.
And our main thing for our employees is that, call needs to be made to rowing, not to DeGroot. If DeGroot gets the call, that needs to be forwarded down to rowing. That type of a scenario that keeps unwanted equipment off the network, that type of thing. So that is a part of the plan as well, the rationale behind it. A plan that she has to submit annually or not. We have a promulgation here, letter to sign. Basically, what it's saying is that the County Emergency Management Agency shall be responsible for the coordination, preparedness, and continuance update of the Pulaski County Comprehensive Emergency Plan, and will ensure that this plan is consistent with federal, state, and other county and municipal plans. So I just read off the signature page because I think it's about 123 pages long in that area. So we'll just have that to sign. And the last thing, we did get something from the extension office. It's their contract with Purdue University. And this probably would need a motion, but let me get back to this page. It is a payment of $68,765 from Pulaski County to Purdue Extension. And this will provide extension services through the Pulaski County Extension, including 2.25 county educators. And I think we know what that staff does, so I won't read through all of that. Speaking with Laura, it's probably maybe a little bit of a uptick, but don't know for sure, but we can assume that is. So unless Kevin feels like he needs to read through the contract, it's probably pretty standard, as we've seen before. You would just need a motion to approve this contract in the amount of $68,765.
Yeah, I would make that motion to approve that for the extension service.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And the commissioners or Kevin or Laura have any other items of discussion? Anything, Laura? No, it's just. Anything from the community? Okay, hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.
Make a motion to adjourn.